Okay. Hello, folks. Fingers crossed we are now live in the Temple Development Hub. We had a bit of a technical hitch, Anthony and I, this morning, but now here we are joining you to talk about decoding. Anthony has created this really innovative app called Voicebook, which he's going to be showing us during the session. And we're also going to be chatting about decoding, why it's useful for our listeners. And I'm also intrigued because Anthony tells me there's no such thing as bottom up, top down processing. So, Anthony, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Right, right. Well, I will explain that a little bit better in as we go along, probably. What I mean is that they're not exclusive. So when we're doing bottom up, we're also using our top down processes, etc. But we'll come to that in a minute. I got into this when I walked into the staff room 8 o'clock in the evening on a Friday night, and I was just about ready to go out to have a nice night out, and everybody went quiet as I walked in. I said, I know this sign that something's happening. Oh, Anthony, we decided we'd like you to teach this particular class now, and so instead of going home, is that all right? Oh, I said, you mean the one you call the group from hell? Yeah, yeah. I said, well, okay, all right. You've been telling me that they want to do lots of listening, and so yeah, I've got a really tough listening activity, and I'll go in there and I'll give them that. And so I walked in, and they were very pleasant for a group from hell, and sat down, and I gave them, we spent an hour just doing listening. And at the end of the lesson, some people had got 8 out of 10, some people had got 7, some people 6, and some people maybe also 5. And I said, yeah, great, that was a really good lesson, I'm really pleased, because you all did really well. And they said, Anthony, no. I said, what do you mean? You didn't do very well? They said, no, how do we put this? It wasn't a very good lesson. And I kind of went, oh my goodness. Right. Was it too difficult? No, that's not the problem. The problem is that you ask us questions about something that we haven't understood. And if you'd given us the cassette tape, as they were at the time, and we'd taken it home, we would have got 8, 7, 6, and 5, just like we did in your lesson. So you were essentially just a button presser, and you didn't really give us anything. I said, yeah, but we went over the text afterwards, and so you understand. They said, yeah, but we're here because we need to go to congresses and things like that, and we need to talk to people and understand what they're saying, be able to follow what's going on. And what you have given us was a test. It wasn't how do we listen better. And I thought, oh yeah, okay, all right, I get it. And if you give us this in a week's time, where we've forgotten the bits that we've seen in the transcript, we'll get 8, 7, 6, and 5. Yeah. So we're paying good money to your school. What are you going to do about it? And so I realized that we didn't have the tools that we need, because I thought about it, and I thought, yeah, hang on. When we started listening in the EFL scene, we had reel-to-reel tapes. You couldn't make an international telephone call because that would cost the absolute earth. And so you talk to your teacher, and if you were lucky, you had these reel-to-reel tapes, and everybody kind of said, well, listening, it's well, I guess it's input, isn't it? It's just like reading. And nothing seems to have changed ever since. Yeah. And so after that dreadfully embarrassing lesson, I decided to get together with some people and create an application. This was in the 90s, and so we used these things called CD-ROMs, which some of the listeners won't even remember, but they were, yeah, a bit like CDs. Oh, what are CDs? But so you could get a certain amount of interactivity out of this, but really not very much. And so for the whole of the second half of the 90s, we produced lots of these wonderful voice books on CD-ROM, but we could never find out what our listeners were thinking, and so we couldn't really help them a lot. We were giving lots of practice, lots of chances to say, I think that what I heard was this. So making their hypotheses, finding out that their hypotheses in real time were not correct, and therefore being able to backtrack and go, okay, if it wasn't this, maybe it was that. I've got lots of little examples just from the last few days that I want to show to you of people using the platform. So one was a kid who was doing a listening about, I think it was a football trainer who said, run. And the kid went, yeah, okay, I've got it. Typed in the word wrong. And I mean, I don't know about you. I mean, I've been working on listening for decades, and I didn't realize that run and wrong are minimal pairs, you know? So what chance does the average teacher have working with, say, a group of 10, 15, 20, 25 kids in the class of understanding what's stopping this kid from understanding run? They know the word run, don't they? And of course, if they were reading it, there would be no problem. And so with Voicebooks, the idea is that you're trying out your hypotheses. Your hypotheses might be completely out. If you're doing that using a traditional way of doing things, where the teacher is going to ask you questions and you're going to get -1 on that question if you don't come up with the answer, and you're going, oh no, but was it run or wrong, or was it, even if you're even thinking of that, but normally your brain just goes, I get it, that was wrong, okay, I'm going to go in that direction. And after about 5 or 10 seconds, you're just you don't know what's going on, because you've had 5 or 10 hypotheses come up, and you're sitting there juggling with all these hypotheses, and then they all fall down, and you go, okay, but if the teacher's very generous, they'll let me listen a second time, won't they? Yeah. And you know, that's just it's just not enough. And the way that we tend to do listening in the classroom, the way that course books are still proposing, despite the best efforts of people like Rachel Roberts, who tried to introduce decoding in a course book, decoding hasn't really been properly accepted as being the way that we ought to be doing it. Now, does this come out the right way round or the wrong way round? It doesn't really matter. But you see the way you're looking at that, yeah? Now, if I pull it away a little bit, okay, now we're going to do a reading comprehension on this, okay? Yeah, actually,
I don't know whether Anthony's frozen there. Hello, Anthony. Are you still there? Oh, this might be a follow-on from the technical hitch we were having earlier, folks. He's obviously not gone forever because his screen's still sharing. But hopefully he'll come back in a second, and whilst he's sorting out his technical issues, I thought what he said at the beginning about, you know, how as a teacher teaching listening or doing listening activities in the class, we are just really button pushers. That, you know, I never really considered it like that before, but it's kind of true. Oh, now we have lost Anthony. I'm going to stop the live stream. Hopefully we'll manage to get him back, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.